Right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the ritual. The ritual. Let's get set up here. If you're new to this channel, you'll want a sandbag. You'll want some water. I'm gonna fill mine up right now. This is a channel dedicated to the art of sustainable fitness and practical self-defense. I'm Sifu Z, and I'm your host of this fine channel. And let's get started. I wanted to talk a little today about, oh, by the way, you can't see because we're fogged in, but that's the Pacific Ocean right there. I'm at the Northern California coast. I'm traveling up and down, to and fro, staying away from the triple digits. It's been pretty cold, but you don't have to go far to get into the heat. Just travel a little bit east or south and just get off the coast, and it gets plenty warm. I think right now we really are in the triple digits in the central California. So aloha, Michelle. Good morning. And yeah, it's so beautiful here, huh? So this is a sandbag. It's not filled with sand from the ocean. It's or from the beach, right? This is sand that comes from like children's play sand that you would buy at a hardware store. That way, you know, it's sterile and clean. Of course, you could make your own sterile, clean sand, but you'd still have to worry about little pieces of coral. So I highly advise against using sand from the beach unless it's sand free from coral type sand. And then you still have to boil that sand, and then you have to dry that sand. So trust me, it's cheaper and easier to just get the sand from like a hardware store or something, and use that sand. Yeah. Now, when you're exercising with the sandbag, the main thing to remember is just don't hit this thing too hard, you know. Hey, Zach. Aloha. Yeah, don't hit this thing hard. You're not trying to develop like calluses on your hand, right? On your fist. Unless that's what you want to do. If you want to do that, more power to you. But this is just to acclimate the hand, sort of wake it up, say, hey, wake up, hand, right? You can use your fist here, your fingers. It's just a great way to exercise your hand. And the sandbag is just the right, this is double plied, by the way. So this sandbag is also a great weight to just do exercises with. Yeah, bring the sandbag up to my fist. Yeah, really good for like curls, or if you want to do bicep extensions for your tricep, right? Bicep curls. another wonderful thing about this, you don't have to necessarily use sand if you're traveling and you can't be running around hardware stores. Can't be, it's kind of heavy. You wouldn't want to travel with this, especially if you're backpacking. But you empty the sand, and it's nice and light. And you can actually fill this with something like rice, or you can fill this with beans, right? And it works out real nice. It just occurs to me, I have to put some glasses on so I can see you guys. Warming up in the on the coastline. Yeah, one second, I get some glasses. There we are. Oh my God, the problem is I can see myself now too. Whew. Warming up on the coastline. Yeah. No, oh no, it's staying nice and cold on the coastline here. But I got 4 bars on the coastline. That's what I'm talking about. So we got a lot of work to catch up on. I've been taking a little bit of a hiatus from doing this online stuff, right? But we're back. I'm gonna kind of hang as much as possible here because we got some work to do here. Yesterday I was up in Oregon, and my God, it was beautiful. I think I caught the best day Oregon has ever had. It was beautiful, Oregon coast there. So and that kind of marked the end of my little vacation. All right, this half hour goes by quick. If you don't know what we're doing here, we're doing a 50-50. Today's 50-50 is a half hour session, and half of this session is open to the public, and the other half is conducted over at patreon.com/sifuzi. If you'd like to join us over there, just go on over to patreon.com and join whatever tier you'd like. I'm trying to read the comments at the same time. Yeah, join whatever tier, and you will have access to these private 50-50 sessions. And on the sunny day out of 6 months, 1. Yeah, that's true. All right, I wanted to talk about this before we go on to our private session there. We always like to do our sandbag. If you do this every day, right? Do it light or moderate. Okay, this is just my suggestions to you guys. And 50-50. Do 50 one hand, 50 the other, maybe 100. But 50-50 is good. All right? Now, this is what I wanted to talk about today. Disinformation. Prevalent. Okay. Let's talk about this. Now, I have seen this coming from my own camp. Well, not from my instructors or my sifu, so to speak, but I've seen this from my Wing Chun brothers. And I have to address it. I have to address it publicly, because this is a thing I feel that causes a lot of misunderstanding about Wing Chun, All right, so here it is. I see a lot of stuff where, let's just say this. As of recent, I saw a Sifu teaching two women this. And before I there's always a caveat, right? There's always an exception. There's always an exception. All right, so what am I talking about? Sometimes you want to deal with the thing, right? In a self-defense situation, you want to deal with a thing straight on. Sometimes, yes, sometimes, right? Sometimes you go into a straight line. Sometimes. Should you train for that? Well, of course. But I think things always need to be contextual to a real situation. We're not talking about seal and tell. Seal and tell is an exercise. There's no application there. But beyond seal and tell, there has to be context, all right? So the context is somebody standing here, stepping, punching, kicking, whatever. They're going to come at you. To do that, they need to step forward, unless they're hopping like a bunny. It's possible. See, sometimes you get the bunny guy, right? And boy, I would just run. But anyway, short of the bunny guy, you see big guy, he's ready to throw. Okay. Let's always have the context there, contextual. It's got to be contextual. I see this so often where they're doing these sort of face-to-face combinations and really just focusing on this face-to-face combination, lopsals or gonsal trap, a lot of face-to-face trapping stuff. Again, that's all good. Should you train for that stuff? Oh, yeah. But in context. We're smaller than our opponent. Contextually speaking, that's often the case, right? Bigger guy pounces on a somewhat smaller, weaker guy. In the context of Wing Chun, it's absolutely an assumption. It's a small woman against a man, okay? So again, contextual, someone attacking. So now, what is always the first thing you do? And it's assuming you can't get away. It's assuming that you have to engage. Contextual. If you can't run, well, you don't want to turn your back necessarily, right? So the context here is you have to engage. So if you're going to do anything up front here, contextually speaking, it should be to get them to stop coming forward, right? So maybe you're attacking the face or anywhere along the center line. What you should be expecting to happen there is that they will then move their center line away from you, thusly getting the bulk of the power away from you. But put simply, you should not be face to face, not in a self-defense situation. You should not be face to face. You should be getting around the opponent, right? Getting around Yeah, look what happens when I go to the side and around. Yeah, I'm over here now. Huge, important. You don't run backwards. Whoa, right? You're always go trying to get around. All right, now Wing Chun has a very specific way in which we do that as well, which is very nice. It's just a pivot. It's not a pivot all the way to the side. Right? Get your structure's gone there. It's a quarter pivot. It's a pivot and a shuffle. Pivot, shuffle. Okay? Pivot, shuffle. Pivot, shuffle. Now that really sets me up nicely to then do the things that Wing Chun is very well suited to do. Again, contextual. A 9mm, it's been shown on YouTube, a 9mm has failed often, multiple shots, to stop an opponent. Do you think a small woman is going to be able to attack with chain punches or whatever and have any effect? Are you out of your minds? No. Okay. But you might get them to, turn, and then as soon as they get out of the way, Wing Chun is there, right? Structure now takes precedence. So this thing where you're constantly in front and doing all this Wing Chun stuff, wah, 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 has to be in context, really, to getting around the opponent. Hey, even better, get into your opponent's back. What am I talking, grappling now? What would you rather do? Punch the hard front side or the soft back side? Right? I'll tell you what, if you attack, anyway, that's another subject, but let's talk about an exercise that we should be doing as Wing Chun folks in order to get our neuromuscular system, our coordination down, so we do the right thing. Someone steps forward this side. What do? We turn here? No, because now we'll be face to face with them, right? Unless you want to go face to face with them. But again, context here, small woman, bigger, larger opponent. Punching them ain't going to do anything other than maybe we'll get out of the way, maybe. That's why I say, contextually speaking, I would go for the back, get out of the way, and go for the what would be the quarter, or the side, or quarter, or the back. I'm making sense there. If not, I'll explain more over on the other side of the 50-50 here. Okay? Yeah. So our pivot is very important. Our pivot. You can't just stand there and right, and that's just chi sao exercise. That's not real life. And you can't match and stand there with your opponent going, okay, calm down, Clem, calm down. No. Our approach would be more like a wrestler, right? With knees ready to go in, ready to pivot, right? Ready to pivot. Yeah, this is huge, guys and gals, okay? It protects the center line. It takes the center line off from your opponent and gives you now a very good position to shuffle from and not walk. We're not walking. We're not dancing. We're not, we're not doing this sort of thing. We're not Bruce Leeing it, right? This is real life. Somebody's about to attack you. You don't got time to, if you got time to do this, you got time to run. All right? So what we're talking about is contextually dealing with the situation and how Wing Chun is so dang ingenious or genius. Ingenious? Genius? Something like that. You know that. So here is the exercise. Quarter turn. Not half turn. Just quarter turn. Pivot. Quarter turn. Pivot. Now, when we pivot, how are we pivoting? We're pushing off the front leg, stepping back. Could you pull the front leg in and then step back? You could, but that's more movement, right? More steps. 1, 2. Okay? 1, 2, and we're pushing. And pushing. Pushing. Pushing off the front and going side. Now from here, I'm gonna pivot and push so you can see where I land up. Now from here, I can switch my feet. I can launch kicks or knees, right? I say launch, but not actually kick or punch. That's because we don't punch, we don't kick. We let them punch themselves or kick themselves on us. You see what I'm saying? If you don't, again, join us over at patreon.com and I'll explain that stuff to you in more detail. So, yeah, just a pivot. Now, if you pivot quarter and you're out of the way, look, if I quarter, let me do it over here. If I go quarter turn, out of the way. All I have to do is step forward and I'm behind the opponent. See how efficient? There's a huge efficiency there. Quarter turn, they're coming in. Quarter turn, push away, step forward. Now I'm behind them. Quarter turn, step, or shuffle, step. Quarter turn, shuffle, step. Now you're behind them. What you have to get used to, and if you have somebody to work with here, this is a great little exercise to do, is have them just stand there even and just randomly step 1 step forward, left or right, and then you have to pivot and shuffle and step to the right leg, to the correct leg. That's how we should say that. All right, this is brought to you by SifuZ.com, the place to go to learn a sustainable method of fitness and a practical method of self-defense. No other place on the planet offers this, folks. So if you want to learn more, go over to patreon.com/SifuZ, choose a tier, and keep the ball rolling. I'll see you over on the other side.